So earlier today, Aaron Rodgers was on the Pat McAfee show, as he typically is every Tuesday, and I always make sure to watch the entire thing because it's always great to hear from Aaron Rodgers himself for 40 or 50 minutes. But today he had lots of different things to say as per usual, but I want to go over some of the biggest takeaways, the biggest comments I saw from him, and give my thoughts on what Aaron Rodgers had to say about this Packers team, currently sitting at 3-4. But first off here, Aaron Rodgers starts the interview and he talks about the mistakes that they have been making. He discussed that the Packers have been making double-digit mistakes every single game, and he compared it to previous seasons where typically they would make maybe 4 or 5 mistakes per game. And so he says this: guys who are making too many mistakes shouldn't play. We got to start cutting some reps. Maybe guys who aren't playing, give them a chance. So coming into this year, we knew the Packers may have some growing pains just because of Devontae Adams leaving, going to Las Vegas. He was a huge part of this Packers team. Most of the plays clearly focused on him, and Rodgers was still able to get him the ball majority of the time, even though teams knew where the ball was going to go. And so far this season, there have been, moments where things seem to be clicking for this offense, mainly in the first few games when we did win. But in the past 3 weeks, things have looked absolutely pretty bad on offense overall, and part of that does have to do with all the mental mistakes. This past week, the Packers had 5 or 6 drops. If they wouldn't have dropped all those balls, that game probably would have ended differently, considering the Packers only lost by 2 points. And so there clearly are lots of things that need to be fixed, and hopefully those will be fixed coming into the next game, this next week. Then Aaron was asked probably 10 or 20 minutes later about his own personal play. And he talked about how it was actually his highest graded game by Packers QB coach Tom Clements, who was brought in this past offseason. And here is Rodgers' direct quote. He says, "This was my highest graded game," which people might be surprised to hear. And when he said this, he was laughing. I don't exactly know why he was laughing. Was he laughing because he thought people would be surprised to hear that because they thought he played poorly? Did he think he played poorly, but his QB coach thought he played good? I don't know why he was laughing, so it's hard to take that quote and just say that, he thinks he played a perfect game, because he does mention here he didn't. He missed some throws. So continuing with the quote. "We obviously didn't execute. A lot of drops, a couple missed throws. Yeah, we are behind the sticks. It's 2nd and 20, 3rd and 25, 1st and 15s. Way too many penalties. Way too many drops. Not enough rushing attempts because we were behind the sticks the whole time. Obviously, Aaron Jones, every time he touches it, is going to make a bunch of big plays." So, as he said, the Packers have not been executing on offense. Drops were an issue. He even noted that he made some bad throws as well, which I think we've seen a lot this season. I honestly think that these past 2 games, part of that has to do with his thumb injury, because we saw him this past week decide to put some tape on it coming into the second half, which clearly means it was bothering him. And we saw some throws after in the Jets game as well, where you could see him wincing in pain from that thumb injury. I'm not saying it's all of it, but I think it is part of it, and we'll see if maybe this next week his thumb completely heals, because he has been on the injury report for the past few weeks, and I still think it was bothering him a little bit. You would assume that once that's fully healthy, he'll probably throw the ball a little bit better. Maybe not, but he has missed some throws. But at the same time, there have been moments where he still looks like the Aaron Rodgers we know and trust, especially that one play he rolled out to his left near the end of the game, hits Aaron Jones on a beautiful touchdown pass. So I still think he has what it takes. It really comes down to this Packers offense and eliminating lots of mistakes they have been making so far this season, especially the past 3 games. Then to end it off, he talks again about the mistakes and the attention to detail. He says this: "Some of it's on the players, for sure on us. Some of it's on the coaching staff, as far as making sure that we're really getting every detail into this. But ultimately, like Dallin said after the game, it's about the players. Players win, players lose. We're out there playing, so it's on us to get this blank fixed. So we gotta look at our habits, what we're doing during the week, how we're studying, because when you're missing little details or fundamental things, those are correctable. And that's why you have some hope, is because it's not like we're just getting dominated out there. We're not getting man-to-man dominated. We are beating ourselves." So coming into this next game against the Bills, the Packers are huge underdogs, 10 or 10.5 point underdogs, which I believe is one of the biggest numbers overall when it comes to the odds that Aaron Rodgers has come into a game in his career. So clearly, the Packers honestly don't have too much to lose right now. They're in a 3-game losing streak. No one really believes that they can come into Buffalo and beat the Bills. And personally, I want to see them win this game. If I had to make a prediction, it'd be tough not to go with the Bills, but I'm going to hold them to hope that somehow the Packers figure it out this week. I held them to this hope last week and the week before. It didn't work out, but maybe this week it will. And if the Packers somehow beat the Bills, I think that the entire season is not over as right now it sort of seems like. Obviously, when you're losing 3 straight games and your offense looks terrible, there's a party that says, shoot, we're done for the year, which I know some of you still believe. I don't completely believe it, even though we've seen in the past 3 weeks, at any moment a team can get things figured out. It will be more difficult than in the past just because this offense hasn't really shown too much this year. But anything can change any Sunday, any game. And if the Packers do come in on Sunday and beat the Bills, things will be okay and everything will be okay going forward if we beat the Bills, because that means that clearly the Packers still have what it takes. I know many of you watching right now are saying, Luke, you're crazy. There's no way we beat the Bills. There is a chance. Even if it's a 1% chance, 5% chance, there is a chance we beat the Bills, and I hope it happens on Sunday. And clearly Aaron Rodgers, as he said after the game, he likes the fact that the Packers are underdogs because everyone is counting them out. So maybe this is what the Packers needed to be able to come in and right things against the Bills. I would have preferred it not come to this point, but maybe if we win this game, I mean, we'll be celebrating for the next week and believe that we can win a Super Bowl if we beat the Bills, because the Bills are one of the best teams, if not the best team in the NFL. But at the same time, if I'm being honest, it's going to be a tough game for the Packers to win, but I hope they can, and we'll see what happens. But those are the biggest things I wanted to touch on from the Pat McAfee, Aaron Rodgers interview. Feel free to subscribe if you would like to see more Packers content, and I'll see you guys next time.